Welcome Reckless Wanderers, it's Robert again. Here's the update for my Ice Nova, Templar, Totem, Inquisitor, something along those lines. The character is now level 84, and as you can see in the background footage, it's doing really well. This is a tier 6 colonnade with elemental equilibrium, which quite frankly, if you're an Inquisitor, doesn't really matter, because if you crit, you ignore the elemental resistances anyway. So yeah, it's working really well. In terms of damage and clear speed, this is not really meant to be a clear speed character. This is primarily meant for safety. And in this video, I want to go more into detail about the defenses, the gearing, and the passives that I'm doing. And it does a pretty good job. I ran a tier 9 residence with a discharger today. And we had Enfeeble and Monster Life, and it took us ages to clear the map, but it was very safe, because even in a tier 9 and even with Enfeeble and me still being in the mid 80s, I'm still able to freeze pretty much everything once I get my totems down. Like I mentioned in the previous episode, I am using Mind Over Matter as my primary way of defenses. So I'm trying to get a lot of mana to make the best use out of that. So on my gear slots, I try to prioritize mana. So I have a little bit of mana on the gloves, I have mana on my boots, I have mana on shield, although that's a really terrible roll. The chest piece has mana. I have no mana on the helmet. Actually, can I craft one on that? I can. That's awesome. I should do that. On the rings, I have mana and mana regeneration. And yeah, basically to get the mana as high as possible. And also in the passive tree, I'm starting to pick up mana nodes as well. So I got Deep Thoughts, and my next goal is to get Righteous Decree, which is a huge boost in mana. And then I'm starting to fill up jewel sockets wherever I can to get life and mana as well. The passive tree itself, it's just a copy of Wabacha's Shockwave Totem build. So there's nothing special over there, except that he doesn't go Mind Over Matter, I believe. Where I'm doing very differently is in my aura and flask setup. Because I'm using Clear Mind, I cannot reserve any mana, and I don't have to, because I'm not using Blasphemy. I'm casting my curse manually. I'm not using Herald of Ice because totems don't benefit from that. Also Hatred, if I'm not using Shockwave Totem, I don't need to use that, which allows me to use this. On top of that, I'm also using the Essence Worm, and in there I'm socketing in a Grace, which basically gives me flat evasion, which I'm then scaling further with a Stibnite Flask, which is always up because it's like 6 seconds duration, and I have charge recovery on that, and the Jade Flask, which also gives me flat evasion. And those two combined with Grace and also Val Grace gives me a pretty good chance to evade incoming damage. Then another layer of defense is the chest piece. I'm using a Val Regalia. It has mediocre energy shield because I also wanted to have some life on there. With a bit better chest, I think I can get up to 2000 energy shield, and with the life total and the ES and the mana, I'm very comfortable. My instant pot is basically not really an instant pot, it's actually a mana pot, because I see if my mana goes down, I just pop that. I have 6 charges of this, which is amazing. So I can get away with just 1 health pot, which is my freeze removal, and this is now my bleed removal. So yes, I have moved away from Soul Mantle. It's an amazing chest for softcore, because if you just have a 5 link, it basically gives you a 6 link. And for hardcore, I thought it's just way too annoying. Yes, you have 3 totems then with Ancestral Bond, and you can pump out a lot of damage, but it was too dangerous. This gives me so much more survivability. I had to sacrifice a link, and I chose to sacrifice increased area of effect. So now I'm running Ice Nova with increased critical damage, Spell Totem, faster casting, increased critical strikes. If I ever get another 6 link, I will just put increased area of effect back in. So we covered this, we covered Essence Worm, amazing item. And I want to get back to Rush Cultist Patience. I mentioned it briefly and the benefits it gives us for this character, because the reduced attribute requirements and also life, mana, and dexterity. But there's one stat that I didn't mention, and that's 20% increased duration of elemental status ailment on enemies. This is incredible. Together with temporal chains and the fact that we are chilling and freezing everything makes this just godly. It's really, really powerful. As I said, it's not a clear speed build. I actually play very, very slowly. I also have no charges, so there's no momentum I have to build up. But since I'm not the most skilled hardcore player, I prefer this playstyle. So if you want to level to level 100 fast, and if you want to compete with the guys at the top of the ladder, this is not a build for you. If you're trying out hardcore and if you want to play a build that's fun, because you actually have a lot of stuff to do. You're casting your totems all the time, you're cursing your enemies, you want to use your rolling blades now and then, because this increases your cast speed by a lot because of Instruments of Virtue. Then if you have single targets or tough enemies, you want to use the Frost Bomb and then the Vortex to melt them down with ice, melting them down with ice. And then there's Valgrace, you have to pay attention. You always are using your flask. You never want to run without the Stibnite and the Jade Flask down. So yeah, this is not a boring build. There's a lot of stuff going on the screen. And if you're playing in the party, people will welcome you because you're pretty much freezing everything. So that's my take on that. Level 8 of 84 now. Let's see if I can make it to level 86, 87 next weekend. The next goals for this character definitely will be to get rid of this awful weapon that I have way too long and exchange it for the Divinarius, and then eventually work my way back towards a 6 link. But that's it for now. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you in game. Bye.